Following the ongoing driver transfer circus in F1, one shocking rumor that came out was that Daniel Ricciardo won't be continuing with Team McLaren in the 2023 season. And recently, while talking about the silly season and 3-week break, he insisted that he needs a vacation. He then posted a selfie in vacation mode, leaving the fans to speculate more. So sit back and relax as we talk about his recent post and future in F1. To start off, Ricciardo is relishing a break from racing. By the looks of it, wherever he ends up next year, Ricciardo will keep smiling. The famous pearly whites in Formula One were on full display earlier this week, as the Australian driver posted on Instagram for the first time since it was reported that McLaren was replacing him with Oscar Piastri in the 2023 season. Enjoying his mid-season break before the Belgian GP scheduled for the 28th of August, the location in the picture appeared to be his sunny California base. But despite the ongoing speculation, Ricciardo kept it short and sweet in his Instagram post. "Hello," he captioned the picture, adding a sun emoji as he stood floating in his swimming pool. We can't help but notice his strength and admiration for the authorities despite the crazy transfer saga. Followed by the ongoing driver circus when it was revealed that the Australian F1 veteran was being replaced by his fellow countryman Piastri. It quickly became the hottest topic everyone was talking about at the F1 mid-year break. And last week, news broke that Fernando Alonso unexpectedly took Sebastian Vettel's vacant seat at Aston Martin for the 2023 season, followed by the 21-year-old Melburnian, Piastri, who has never raced an F1 car in action, rejected the position after Alpine stated he would be the successor to Alonso. Not so surprisingly, word got out over the weekend that Ricciardo would give up his seat to Piastri, and McLaren would release the 8-time champion to make room for the talented kid. This move would reportedly cost McLaren $21 million in Ricciardo's compensation, as he's still under contract with McLaren. With the exception of the 2021 victory at Monza, it puts his career at a crossroads following 2 generally underwhelming seasons. And, as he struggled to wrap his head around the McLaren car, his teammate Lando Norris often outperformed him. The 32-year-old, who departed Renault for McLaren, might return to the Enstone division, known as Alpine, which is open to the transfer. But despite claims that the FIA's Contract Recognition Board had approved Piastri's move, Alpine continues to feel they have an unbreakable agreement with the young Australian and are still planning for him to take the seat. We gotta say, this has to be one of the most exciting transfer sagas we've had recently in the F1. Which brings us to reasons behind Ricciardo's struggle with McLaren's cars. Last season, Ricciardo had difficulty getting used to a new car's philosophy, which eventually worked out and led to his victory at Monza. But still, the struggles kept going on and even got worse. He had 56 points and 9-point finishes after 13 races in 2021. But this year's haul, just 19 points from 5 races, 3 of which came from finishing 6th in the Imola Sprint. At the end of last year, McLaren technical director James Key said that the company wanted to tackle the weaknesses by ensuring no built-in legacy behaviors in a new car like that. But in the end, Ricciardo had the same problems with the new car. And at the same time, Norris would also say that the technicalities of this year's McLaren put him in the same boat. But he's been able to adapt and work around the MCL36's features, while Ricciardo had trouble doing the same. He's always been a good driver who came out on top when he was sure of himself and the car. This gave him freedom to be aggressive and hurl the car around, but he hasn't been able to do that with the McLaren of the past 2 years. As for Lando, Norris has been more consistent in races, while his teammate has been more likely to fall behind because of these slowdowns. Ricciardo has also found it harder to figure out why the car sometimes acts the way it does. Norris's changes compared to Ricciardo's have helped explain why they haven't been as close at times this year, but it hasn't hurt Ricciardo's confidence or made him question his skills, and he has always been confident that everything would turn out well for him. It might be hard for him to win again as he did at Monza, but he always believed that a breakthrough was close. Finally, what does the future hold for the Australian racer? Unfortunately, Ricciardo's much-needed breakthrough didn't come quickly enough, and even though McLaren said they wanted to help him get up to speed, their patience ran out. When Piastri became available out of the blue, the team thought it was too good of a chance to pass up, even if it meant losing a proven winner like Ricciardo. And this is what everyone needs to keep in mind. Ricciardo has won many times before, despite all 8 of his F1 wins being in cars that were not the fastest on the grid. This clearly shows that he knows how to get the most out of his machinery. But sometimes the driver and the car don't work well together, which seems to be the case here. This partnership didn't work, but it's not entirely his fault, and no matter where Ricciardo goes next, the goal will be to get him back on track and, in a way, rebuild his legacy. A car he likes and can connect with smoothly will be the key factor that will make that happen quickly. In other related news, firstly, updated technical regulations to address porpoising issue. Mohammed bin Sulayem, the president of the FIA, said this week that updated 2023 technical regulations would be sent to the World Motorsport Council to fix the porpoising problem in F1. He added that he's talked about the problem with all 20 drivers and the 10 team leaders. The Mercedes W13 was most affected by porpoising this season. Lewis Hamilton stated that he was in pain during practice sessions in Azerbaijan. Additionally, drivers complained that the new 2022 cars bounced violently at high speeds, so the FIA issued a new technical directive before the Canadian GP to make the cars safer. Christian Horner, the boss of Red Bull, reacted to this by expressing that it was unfair to change the rules when one team struggled more than others. He pointed the finger at Mercedes, who was not doing well and bouncing around. Meanwhile, Toto Wolff, Horner's counterpart at Mercedes, insisted that the situation had gone too far. He added that all drivers had a problem with how the car was designed, which needed to be fixed. Up next, Oscar Piastri F1 case could end up in high court. Alpine might sue for millions if Oscar Piastri refuses to race for them next season, says team principal Otmar Zafnauer. Renault-owned Alpine announced Piastri as Alonso's replacement in 2023, but the Australian F2 racer ruled it out immediately. And, as speculation suggests, McLaren and Alpine might reach an agreement that might see race winner Ricciardo return to Alpine. But the board at Alpine is clearly frustrated with Piastri's rejection, as according to Zafnauer, Alpine is ready for a legal battle after the August break. The frustration is due to the company investing heavily in Piastri's F1 preparation, with independent tests and thousands of miles in last year's vehicle, notably at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. He also indicated that they hadn't sat down with accountants to tally their spending if they were planning on going to the high court, but it sure will be a hefty sum, as an F1 power unit costs about 1.75 million euros, and a separate budget is also needed for a specialist test team that needs flights, cars, and hotels. And lastly, Lewis Hamilton reveals he dislikes driving outside of F1. In a shocking turn of events, Lewis Hamilton surprisingly acknowledged that driving on regular roads stresses him out too much. In an article that recently came out in the Vanity Fair magazine, the 7-time F1 world champion expressed that driving outside of F1 is very stressful for him, and that he tries to avoid doing things that don't improve his life. While driving his Mercedes smart car through the busy streets near Nice, Hamilton told his interviewer that anything could happen on these roads. And later, as the traffic worsened, he said it made him anxious. The road made no sense to him as there was so much going on. We're with you on that one, Lewis. Congested traffic also makes us anxious. As for driving on an F1 circuit, the Mercedes driver has a contract with his team until the end of next year, but he expressed staying in the game longer. Hamilton has had to settle for trying to be the best of the rest this season, as it looks like Verstappen will keep his title. But the 37-year-old said that the chance to win an invincible 8th title is what keeps him going in the competition. An invincible title? Hamilton is really a gooner, huh? That's all for this video. What are your thoughts on Ricciardo's latest Instagram post? Do you think he's going to do better if he moves to Alpine? Let us know in the comments below. And remember, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content in the future. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.